Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I am Powersymphonic and this is my adventures with my good friend Eärendil Steen, or Eärendil Steen from the Elf-pirate. So he come over and he stayed at mine for how many days, and then we went to Wolverhampton to Palmetto Quest Fest. Then the day after we travelled for London, ready for Halloween on Monday, and then yesterday was Battle Beast, and then today obviously I saw him off and I got back and I am absolutely knackered. It feels like I've been drinking shed loads of alcohol, hungover and everything, but I've barely touched any, so I'm just absolutely knackered. But I had immensely huge time. So it started off last Wednesday, because he came over the Tuesday, and last Wednesday we was came home from work, showered as you do, had a bag of crisps, and then I decided after showering I went straight to Birmingham, caught the train. I was there and I was sitting there, Eärendil, with another personal friend, Becky Baldwin from Fury, and I was eating some platter and had eaten enough and there was some food left, and he said, "We got some bits left over, do you want some?" So I said, yeah. And so I finished it off, and then we sat there in this, I think it's called the Rainbow. I remember going there because I went to see Aiden with a friend. Not my cup of tea, but my friend really wanted to see him on her last tour. Said, "I really want to go." And she said, "If I pay for your train fare and the ticket, will you join me?" I said, yeah. So I went with her just to, keep my friend company, because she's a hobbit-sized short arse. So we went there when I was with Eärendil, and then Naya from Fury met up with us, and we went and had a few drinks there, and then we went to Subside and everybody was drinking, and then I think it was like 12 midnight. Naya said, "I've got to go," so she disappeared, which was, we was hoping she was going to stay longer, but she disappeared. And then Eärendil was drinking more, and I said I really wanted to get back. I was absolutely knackered, but things with the trains and me, wrong platform and all that sort of stuff. So Eärendil was like, "Just stay over." So luckily Becky, she's got a sofa bed, so me and Eärendil crashed out on that. I went to sleep, but yeah, we stayed till whatever time. Some bloke was there and he was trying to offer everybody drugs, saying, "Oh, I've got work in like 3 hours and I'm just going to stay up and then I'm just going to take some drugs and then go to work." I was like, "Rather you than me, mate." He offered him me and I said, "No chance." I had no chance, dodgy hard. But yeah, we went back to Becky's, we slept, we got up in the morning, she cooked us a really nice breakfast. Thought it was absolutely awesome. We said our goodbyes. Then me and Eärendil got the train to Birmingham, and then from Birmingham we got the train to mine. We got to mine, we dropped everything off, and then we went straight back out and we went up the Wrekin, which is a place in Shropshire, and I live about 20 minutes from the Wrekin. And he was absolutely hungover, but he said he was determined to get up there. But yeah, we got all the way up the Wrekin, took photos and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely loved it. He loved every moment of it. Said he'd love to go again. We came back from the Wrekin, and then on the way back I said, "To tell you what," so we stopped off at the takeaway and I bought a 16-inch pizza. I think it was like 13 quid, which was extremely cheap, and it was a 16-inch barbecue pizza. We had half each, and we just sat and ate the pizza, and we watched Monty Python's Life of Brian, which is absolutely classic. We were quoting it, and then about 70% of the way through the movie, I see Eärendil was literally near enough fast asleep, and I started to feel a bit tired, and I think it was like 10 o'clock by then. But I've seen the movie 50 zillion times, so I turned it off and I just said, "Have yourself a good sleep." And then in the morning, because we had to be up early in the morning, and then Naya from Fury, which is what the singer, which is one of my personal friends, was awesome, and she came and picked us up. And then we went to some historical locations around Birmingham, where all stuff to do with Lord of the Rings, because Eärendil is an immensely huge Tolkien fan, and I absolutely love Lord of the Rings, but his knowledge is incredible. So yeah, we went to a few things like that, and then we got back here and we decided to chill out for a bit. And then my good friend Martin White came over, because he's one of my best friends. He travelled all the way over from Burnley, and we sat there and Eärendil was playing on my Steam Deck, which I got him hooked. on a game on my Steam Deck. It's similar to in between Unreal Tournament, Doom, Quake, but you get a horde of creatures after you, like zombies, goblins, all that sort of stuff, and you just have to survive. He absolutely loved it, and then he's like, oh, I got a weapon, I got a frying pan. I said, what the bloody hell is a frying pan going to do? But yeah, he got the frying pan and obviously played it for a while, and then Martin was like knackered, so Martin shared my bed because Eärendil had the sofa bed. And I said to Martin, you're in here with me, so top and tailed. And I was making a joke to his missus. I said, I've finally got Martin in bed. I've already got my friend Stewie in bed, and I've got Eärendil in bed. I just said, I've finally got Martin in bed. And she was laughing, and she said, I'm going to have to charge her for that. And I was like, if you want to, she's going to have to charge her for each night, because I got him in bed 2 nights in a row. But I was having a laugh about it. She knows I'm only messing, and she knows I wouldn't go near him because I'm not that type of person. Plus, you know, I'm in a happy relationship. But yeah, we did that. We got up in the morning, we got ready, and then we travelled to Wolverhampton, where we went to Wetherspoons, Cheap and Cheerful. And that's when Niall met us and a few other people. And I saw Eärendil off because he went to the KK Steel Mill because he was performing. And then we went to Questfest. We got into Questfest, I think it was like 3 PM, the doors opened. And it was, every band was absolutely awesome on there. There was 7 bands altogether. Stormborn, there was Heroes of the Gauntlet, there was Sonata Arctica, Fellowship. I'm trying to think of most of the other bands, but half of them have literally gone out of my head. But yeah, Fabio Leone doing the Rhapsody stuff. Funny thing, we were walking towards the venue, and somebody, a load of rockers were walking past us, and I literally looked to left, and the next minute there was Fabio. He walked straight past me. I nearly got on the floor. I nearly said, we're not worthy. And literally I was like, oh my God, there's Fabio Leone. I was like, this guy can sing the phone book. He's an absolutely beast of a singer. He's one of my all-time favourite singers. He's incredible. They were absolutely incredible live. It's a shame they only had a short set list, but we all sung our heart out to Emerald Sword, or I'm going to correct myself right now, it's called Emerald Sword, because I know Fabio, when he sings it, he always says sword. I think it's an Italian thing, because I was chatting to my good friend Fabio Guy from Grimgots, and he mentioned about it's an Italian thing with certain stuff, so like they say sword and stuff like that. But yeah, it was absolutely awesome. After during the band, my good friend Eärendil, which he was performing, and he was a bard, and he sung all bard songs, and he actually did a cover of Blind Guardian, which was awesome, the bard song. And then he done Diggy Diggy Hole from Windrose, and then a couple of his own tracks. And he made a few jokes about Wolverhampton and also Liverpool, because, you know, me and him, we're not overly keen on Liverpool FC because we're Manchester United fans. But yeah, it was brilliant. Then after the gig, we strolled to the Gifford Arms, and at first we were denied entry, which was a bit weird because I've never been denied entry to the Gifford. But the guy said there's too many people in there. I was like, oh, okay then. So all the ones that were in there, they said the ones that were already drunk and they were not buying alcohol and they were just there, they kicked a load of people out. And then we went in there, we had a drink, I had a Pepsi, or was it a Pepsi? I think it was a cider or a Pepsi. And then we went upstairs and they were playing power metal, so we rocked out for a bit. But then we had to get back because obviously Martin and my good friend Stewie, who was there, who played a prank on Martin at Questfest and blobbered him. If you don't know what that means, there's a character in the UK, Noel's Funhouse Party, and if you know it, if you're from, you know, Europe or something and you know about it, and it's called Mr. Blobby. It's like a big character. It's like a character which is like a big pink character with like dots on it and big goggly eyes or something like that. It's Blobby, 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 Mr. Blobby, and he blobbies people. My good friend Stewie, he's made me jump how many times. But yeah, after a few songs, we got back to mine, and I was like, I think we best sleep. So we slept it off, got up in the morning. My good friend Martin and Stewie, they buggered off in the car. Then I said to Eärendil, we'll work out the train, we'll get the train to Birmingham, and then from Birmingham we're going to get the coach to London. All trains are cancelled. It was all rail replacement bus service. which I was like, oh, for God's sake, and I was cursing and everything. And I said, so we're going to have to get to the coach station or train station, and we're going to have to wait for a coach, and it's going to take like 2 hours, so we're going to miss our coach and various other things. But luckily it was only £24 or something, and there was an Uber, or was it Uber or Bolt, one of the two, but we got it to Birmingham, got stuck in traffic. We got there, I think it was with 5 minutes to spare, and then we got in a coach. We sat in a coach. Funny enough, we sat next to a nice woman. I think she was like in the 60s, but we was sat next to her, and my good friend Eärendil was obviously nervous and everything, and I think his bladder needed the toilet. She said, is he okay? And I said, yeah, it's just he needs a toilet. And I said he was from Norway and it's his first time over, and she said, welcome to the UK. She gave him a bar of chocolates, which was cool. But then she said, I'm famous, I am. And I was like, are you? She was like, yeah, I'm famous. And I was like, I'm a famous celebrity. And I was like, don't recognise you. And she said, have you ever seen a programme called Gogglebox? And I was like, yes, hardly. Yes, I have. So for some people that don't know what Gogglebox is, I'm gonna give a brief description about Gogglebox. It's effectively, say thing is about to start. If you're from the UK, you know about Coronation Street, EastEnders and all that sort of, you know, thing. But say in wherever country you are, you're sitting out on your sofa and you're watching, say, the Star Wars movie, and you've just literally put it on and you're watching it. Well, there's a camera in the corner and it's filming you. And it's literally filming you watching that movie. That's what it basically is. It's filming you watching a movie, and all you're doing is people from around the world or wherever is watching Gogglebox, and all they're doing is watching you watch Star Wars just for the 2 hours, so they're watching you watch it, which I really don't get to understand that. I think it's really strange. But yeah, you're just watching them so you can get the reaction and all that sort of stuff. I just think it's ridiculous, and who the hell would want to watch something like that? Bloody daft. But she kept saying, I'm famous. And I thought, I know you're famous. And I was like, yeah. I thought, not really that fussed about Gogglebox. I said, it's not my thing, because I don't really do soaps. To be honest, I don't really watch much TV. But yeah, we got to London, and then we managed to find where we got to the hotel. Went into the one, I tried to check in, and the guy was like, you've got the wrong hotel. And I was like, oh God, is it yours is across the road? And I was like, oh, so it was only across the road. Got in there, managed to get in, went into the room that we were staying in. Oh my God, the state of the room. I won't be staying there again. Went into the bathroom. The curtain rail was rusty and it was falling off. The radiator, you couldn't switch the radiator off. That was the annoying thing. There was no knob or nothing. It looked like it was broken. It was constantly on. The window, when you looked out the window, all you could see was a brick wall, and you couldn't open a window, so it was like an oven, and it wasn't very pleasant. But me and Eärendil, we stayed in there, and I booked it for 2 nights, so we stayed in there, and it wasn't pleasant, but it was really, really cheap. And I thought, what do you get for staying in something like that? I couldn't really afford something really, really expensive, but we stayed in that one. And then I was chatting to Eärendil, and he said, right, food. And plus the Manchester United game was on, because we were playing versus Liverpool at Anfield, which we were both expecting to suffer and get battered. But I said, let's go to Wetherspoons, because it's cheap and cheerful, Wetherspoons in the UK. And you know what you get in. So we went to Wetherspoons. We had some food, because we had some breakfast, I think it was. Yeah, it was dinner, should I say, because there was no breakfast menu. I think I had burger and chips and everything. And then rather than a pub, we sat there and we watched the first half of the game, and we were 1-0 up. And I was like, I can't believe we were 1-0 up at Anfield. And we was cheering. I was like, yes, we're playing great. And then Liverpool's all over us. And he said, look, we need to go, because he said, we'll go to some rock bars. He had it on his phone. We're sitting on the tube, and I think it was like 70 something minute, and we got lost on the tube because we got on the wrong one, but luckily we found where we had to go. 70 something minute, Liverpool equalised, and we were both like, oh, here we go. Saw it coming, we were cursing and everything. And then I was like, we've got to get off in he said, we've got to get off in 5 minutes. And the next minute, the signal went, and then Eärendil was like, no, not Harry Maguire. and then the next minute he got it back up. Only Harry Maguire, or as we call him, Slabby Maguire, because that's what the fans called him, Slabby Maguire. He scored to make it 2-1. The whole of the carriage on the underground, I think they heard us, because I literally, yes, I went mad and screamed my head off. I could not believe it. And then there was something like 8 minutes left, and I was like, oh God, you know what's going to happen. But it finished 2-1, and we both couldn't believe it. And my friend Eärendil said, imagine the worst Manchester United team in decades, and we are absolutely dreadful at the moment. Imagine losing to us at home. That was how bad Liverpool was, and I couldn't believe it that we won 2-1. Oh my God, what a game. We were celebrating, and we went round the rock bars, and I said, we need to celebrate. So he wanted to go around the rock bars in London, and I said, tell you what, we'll do like 3-4 of them, and we'll have a couple of drinks, because I thought we haven't got to get up early tomorrow. We got into one pub, there was a guy wearing a Liverpool shirt. I said, I don't know whether to go over to him, to give him a hug, to laugh, point to laugh, to buy him a pint and say sorry, to bleed and shout, oh, Harry Maguire. I wasn't sure whether to what to do, but yeah, felt bad for him, but still. And then I said to Eärendil, because on YouTube there's a thing where it's reaction, where you get all the people reacting to the game, and some people start smashing their setup and going mad. But we was watching the Liverpool fans react, and it was hilarious. But yeah, went to how many drinks, got into one bar, got chatting to a lovely American person that was awesome, so they was from the US, but they're working over here, which is cool, chatting about bands, played all the classic stuff. They actually played Hammer for All Hearts on Fire, but me and my good friend Eärendil were singing alternative lyrics. We were singing Fart and Fire, Shot and Fire. We was just singing it, and then it really late, we were like, I said to him, we've got to get the last underground back, which was 11, and he was like, I'm only in the UK once, so I want to enjoy myself. And I said, okay then. He said, I'll pay for the Uber back, or the Bolt, or whatever it was. And I said, okay then. And then when I think it was like 2-3 a.m. and everything was closing, he said, I tell you what, I said, let's walk back to the venue, or should I say the hotel, or whatever bedsit, whatever you want to call it. We'll walk back. I said, okay then. So we walked back, and then we decided we were going to walk back. It was a 2-hour walk, and I said, let's go for a short walk, and then halfway we'll order the Uber, Bolt, or whatever it was. We got back, and the next minute he said, check your phone, and it was some like 15 minutes walk before the because we were celebrating, cheering and shouting because of Manchester United, but 15 minutes before our destination, and I was like, oh, there's no point getting a Bolt. But halfway, Eärendil was like, I'm hungry, is there anywhere open? He found some dodgy corner shop, and he bought us both a sandwich, and one of these small sandwiches. I think I had egg and cress, and he had something, and yeah, ate the thing, and I was like, ooh, felt a bit funny, and I was like, yeah, really shouldn't have ate that, because I think it was one of them dodgy sandwiches. But yeah, got back to the hotel, the thing we were staying at, and just slept. And then in the morning we got up early because we were meeting everybody, and we got showered, all that sort of stuff, got dressed, got into London, and then we travelled to where the venue was. We got up about 12 p.m. or something like that, and we got to the venue, and we met up with Fabio, which is one of my good friends. He's a keyboardist from Gringotts. Gringotts are an absolutely incredible band. But yeah, we had some pre-drinks. I had Pepsi, and then I think I had one cider, but mainly Pepsi. And then we got in the queue, waited to go in. Oh my God, Beast in Black are absolutely incredible. That was like my 5th, 6th time. Awesome. And then we saw the Mighty Halloween. They still got it after 40 years. My only gripe about that concert was when they ended, they did a snippet of Keeper of the Seven Keys, which was like, I'm not into snippets and all that sort of stuff. I'd rather do a full gig. Or should I say, play the full song live. I'd rather than play it full. But they actually played Ride the Sky, Heavy Metal is the Law, and they played some epic stuff. And I said, other than that bit, the only other gripe, Kai Henson wearing wigs. I've noticed he wears wigs, and I was like, Kai, just drop your wigs and go for your natural hair. It's better, because yeah, it looked like he should be, for any fans who know Rod Stewart, I was like, he should be in the Rod Stewart band. But yeah, we got back from Halloween, and then when it finished, we were like, we need. Everybody wanted food, so we went to, I think it was Popeyes. I've never been there before, and Eärendil was like, I tell you what, buy me breakfast in the morning. It's cheap. I'll buy you a Popeyes. I was like, yeah. So we ate Popeyes, enjoyed that, and then we staggered back for a little bit, and then Eärendil was like, I tell you what, I'm just gonna order us a Bolt. So we got a Bolt. Was it a Bolt or whatever it was? I'm back to the hotel, and then slept. And then in the morning we got up early because we didn't go to none of the rock bars because it was the Tuesday. We got up, we had to be up early for Birmingham. So we travelled back to London, Victoria, and then we just went to McDonald's, had our breakfast, and then went to the coach station. Took us a while to find out where our coach was because wasn't showing anywhere, but eventually we found out where the coach was. Got on a coach, made our way to Birmingham. The minute we got into Birmingham, and then he was like, oh, I need a good crap, I do. And I said, dude, because he needed the toilet. And I was like, tell you what, we just went straight to the hotel, found out where we was. We went to the hotel, we checked in, he had a shower, I had a shower after, cleaned ourselves up and everything. And then we went back to the Rainbow, met up with Becky Baldwin from Fury, had some food. We both had like this, I paid for the food purely because it was a 2-for-1. So, or should I say, you buy one burger and you get one free meal thing. So I said, I tell you what, because a couple of times during this thing, during our adventure, there were some places where you buy one burger and you get one free. So I said to Eärendil, because, you know, he had lack of funds because of smashing his phone beforehand and having to replace it. I said, I'll pay for the food purely because I got each for free. So I bought him a burger. Well, effectively, he got it for free, so I didn't pay for it. So I just paid for mine and he got it for free. But we had the burger and everything. And then we just made our way to the venue. Everybody had just started going in, so we weren't fussed about getting to the front. But we got in there and he was having a drink, and then they decided to do shots. I didn't do shots because, you know, I don't really drink that much. And he was like, do you want to drink? So he got me a Pepsi. Absolutely awesome. I said, thank you, dude. So we had a drink. We listened to Majestica. They only did a half-hour set. Still absolutely incredible. And then Dominum came on. They're a German horror-themed power metal band. I've unboxed their album on my YouTube channel, and they are mwah. Even Eärendil said they're going far. So all three of us rocked out. And then Battle Beast came on, and they were out of this world again. As I said in my video, I'm just about to unbox their new album. They played out of 10 songs off the new album. The only ones they didn't play is The Burning Within and Riders of the Storm, which is a shame. I thought that was a Hammerfall cover, but then I listened to it and just checked it out, and it wasn't a Hammerfall cover. It was just, you know, the same title. But after, we were like, we'll go to Subside. We was going to take him to Scruffy's, but we couldn't because it was closing. So we were going to go to Subside. We got outside. The bar next door was playing power metal, so we went in there. We stayed in there. I had a few Pepsis and we rocked out until it closed. Now we was in there rocking out, and there was a young lass in there. She, you could see she was having a time of her life. We chatted to her because she was meant to be going to see Battle Beast with a friend. They pulled out, so she was there on her own. Got her hotel, but she was just on her own. There was a guy there who must have been about 60, and yeah, it was a full-on racist neo-Nazi, because my good friend Eärendil had a chat with him, and some of the stuff he was coming out with, he was in shock. And Eärendil said, do you get this in the UK? I said, sadly at the moment, you get the Nigel Farage, as we call them, the flag wankers, or something like, you know, as my good friend Martin have called them. But we get them, and yeah, he was making her feel uncomfortable. He kept going up to her, asking her questions. And it looked like she was going to touch her, and the way he was acting towards her. So he said to her, come, she said, is it okay if I join you? And we went, yeah. She was on about her autism, saying I've got bad autism and didn't feel comfortable. And I said, get on our table with us. You'll be well looked after. Eärendil bought her a drink, and we made sure she was okay. And then we all rocked out. And after we finished, I said to her, me and Eärendil, because I know it was out of our way, I think it was 5 minutes out of our way, I said, me and Eärendil, we're going to walk you back to the hotel. I said, just to make sure you got back safe, which she said, thank you for that. And I said, there's still some good people in this world. And I said, well, it's one of them. I said, you know, I'm not going to let somebody who, you know, she said, I can look after myself because I do. She does weight training and some other stuff. And she said, I can look after myself. I said, yeah, but still, you don't know what, you know, you don't know what people are about and all that sort of stuff. We were going, it's only 5 minutes out of our way, a little bit of a detour. So we walked back, said thank you. And then we got back to the hotel. And I was like, dude, I'm absolutely knackered. So I went into the toilet. We took it in turns. I had a piss, and then I was like, I'm going straight to bed. So I stripped down just into my boxers. He ain't fussed because, you know, he's not like he's seen anything before, because he's got the, you know, same bits as me, and he's a man, so, you know, we're not that fussed. And I just got into bed and lay there, and then I just nodded off, and then about 5 minutes later, just for some reason I woke up and he was in the toilet. You all right? Yep. Got into bed, went to sleep, and then that was it. Woke up this morning and he was like, we've got to be out by 10 a.m. So I was like, I'm going to go take a shower. And I said, I said, I'm not going to wash my hair because it smells of sweat and God knows what. So that's what I am about to do this evening. After this, I'll be popping for a shower, washing my hair. So we're having another shower. But yeah, I said, what do you want to do now? And he said, we need some breakfast. So Wetherspoons again, purely because it's cheap and cheerful. I had some like muffin and a glass of orange juice. And then I said, I'll walk him back to the coach station. And we got there at the National Express. He was like, I need the toilet, I need the toilet. You have to pay for the barrier. And he was like, oh my God, you have to pay for the barrier? And I said, yeah. But where you go for the barrier, there's a little gap where you can put your luggage through, like your suitcase. And one guy said to him, just climb under that, because everybody was climbing under it. He said, I can't do that. And he went to pay, and then the next minute he was like, sod this, and he just jumped over the barrier and went through. And he said, if I get arrested, I get arrested. I said, you're not going to get arrested, dude. And he went in there, and then I seen him off on his coach, and I was like, walk back, got the train, come back here, absolutely knackered. The minute I got here, because the sofa bed was pulled out, I didn't put my sofa bed back up because when we got up in the morning, ready to go to Birmingham, on our way to London, Eärendil was like, you're going to put this up? And I went, nah, dude, just leave everything as it is. And he said, okay, just want to leave it? And I went, yeah, when I get back from Birmingham today. And I said to him, I can easily sort it out myself. It won't take 5 minutes, just leave everything. I said, the washing up was done, but certain things, just leave it. When I get home, I'll get it sorted. And yeah, got back, had a nap, absolutely knackered, and thought, need to get a couple of videos done. But all these unboxing videos, they're all going to be done over the weekend, so I'll be getting them on my YouTube channel. But at the moment, I'm still recovering. Probably going to have an early night, just about to have a shower, and then I'll get my game on, because I'm playing through Death Stranding 2 at the moment. I haven't played that since last week, purely because I've obviously been on some adventures with the Elf-pirate. So yeah, that was my adventures with the Elf-pirate. As you know, I'm absolutely knackered, so I can't wait to go to bed later and just sleep it all off. But I'll catch you in the next video. I'll put a link in the description to his Twitch channel when I can find it, so go check him out, Eärendil the Elf-pirate. I know we filmed a lot, so we're doing his video diary and that sort of stuff, and we're posting it, and I absolutely cannot wait to watch it. And he said I'll be included in a lot of the video footage because he spent a lot of it with me, which is completely fine. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'll catch you in the next video. If you're new to this channel, if you would like to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all of that sort of epic stuff, because it's mainly unboxing videos I do. I show off my latest haul, I do gig reviews, I do my adventures with music, I do all that sort of stuff, show off everything I've got. Those were my purchases. I've just literally done a video on my latest haul. It's on my YouTube channel now, so if you want to check that one out, definitely give that one a watch. And I shall catch you in the next video. So Powersymphonic saying, have yourself a good one, and see you later.